It's common to have concerns about moving overseas. You wonder if you're going to adapt the nomad capitalist lifestyle, what life will look like, what changes are you going to face? And one of the things that people from certain places really worry about is what's the weather going to be like? We've seen more people from Southern California in particular who are concerned about leaving their pristine climate and where can they recreate that overseas. And so today I'm going to share with you a handful of places that have Southern California weather without the Southern California taxes, regulations, and high cost of living. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. I'm the author of this book, available on Amazon, and the founder of Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors all over the world legally go where you're treated best. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. And so when it comes to folks from Southern California or anywhere in California, you live in one of the highest taxed, highest regulated, highest everything, lowest amounts of freedom places in the world. And I can promise you, even, what's written in the laws, what's written in the Constitution, you're going to have far more freedom somewhere else. And so a lot of people have been leaving California. It's always a pleasure to see that. But rather than just moving to Florida or to Texas, as I always say, if you're going to move, you might as well just move. Go out and explore the world, find places. And when it comes to replicating that Southern California climate, the Mediterranean climate, the pleasant summers, the pleasant winters, the great year-round climate people love about Southern California. Where can you go and do that? So let's start with close to home in Mexico, Ensenada, other places in Baja California. This is a great place to start, very close, because you're really not that much further south. And so there are a lot of places in Baja California Sur. All around Mexico, you've got a lot of places with a great climate. And so certainly some places are going to be warmer in the summer. They're going to be even hot and maybe warmer in the winter as well. But Mexico, lots of opportunities. And for an American, and for a lot of Westerners, you can get residence in Mexico. You can go down and live there. You can even go for the first 6 months on a simple tourist visa, and it's been a very open country. So it's definitely one where I've said, why don't more Americans move to Mexico versus complaining about Mexicans moving to the US? Or rather than Americans moving to Canada or threatening to move to Canada, why not go to Mexico instead? Better food, better weather, nicer people. I love the Canadians too, but just such nice people, and probably a lot more of what you're used to if you're living in Southern California. Now, we could go all the way down through Central America, and there are a number of places that you could go where there are at least pockets. Parts of southern Nicaragua, Costa Rica would have a somewhat similar climate. Parts of Panama, you could have this climate. You could go all the way down the coast. One place that I think really works and that you can make a comparison to California is Chile. And so look at a place like Valparaiso, along the coast in Chile. Chile is sort of a southern hemisphere California, and people have often made this comparison. They have much of the same weather, they have vineyards, they have a lot of the same topography. You can be on the beach, you can be in the mountains kind of thing in the same day. And so Chile, another place where, while they are suffering, in my opinion, from a slow move to what I call the visa waiver program effect, where once they have visa-free access to the US, which the Chilean passport does, they start to be like, hey, maybe the taxes should go up. Maybe we should be giving people more free stuff. That just seems to be kind of a consequence when a country becomes too big. They kind of lose that touch with where it is that they were, in Chile's case, not that long ago. That said, it is possible to get residence. It is possible to get a tax exemption there. And so it's a good place to go for folks who want to be relatively in the same time zone, want a place that looks somewhat similar, and has that high standard. I think places in Mexico are great. I think some of the cities in Mexico have a very high standard of living. But Chile really, there's parts, if you walk around Santiago, it almost feels like walking around Canada to me. Just how things are so perfect and everything works. And it may be better than living in many parts of Southern California in terms of things just functioning. So Chile, definitely a place to look at. In Europe, being that we're talking about a relatively Mediterranean climate, the Algarve in Portugal, for example, a lot of people from Southern California have been going there, and we've seen the popularity of, for example, the Portugal Golden Visa explode in the last year or so as Americans are looking for a second passport, a second home, access to Europe, as the US passport has declined in terms of its quality since the pandemic started. And so the Algarve, in addition to other places in Portugal, there are some good nooks and crannies up the western coast, but that whole southern coast, very nice place to live, to get that great climate, to get just the vibe, I think. And if you want to qualify for the tax exemptions, if you're an American, they do exist. They are a bit more complicated in terms of planning properly where your business is going to be. You don't just have carte blanche, but there is a tax exemption. There are good tax deals for crypto investors, crypto traders, and just really a great place to live if you want that Western European lifestyle. You're not going to be certainly as close to California as you would be in one of the Latin American places, but you are still close enough to the US. Also in Europe, Sicily. Not a place I have a lot of experience with, but I was talking to some folks and they said this is a place where you can really get that Southern California climate. And so Sicily, in the Mediterranean, interesting place, great summer destination, a place that with Italy offering a number of different tax incentives. Not only do they have their own golden visa, they have other residence programs, they have not only a lump sum tax now, they have numerous tax incentives for pensioners, if you live in the north, if you live in the south. So Italy has a number of tax incentives. This is not a total tax haven. You're not going to pay zero, but there is some good flexibility that Italy has that Portugal doesn't have for some online business owners. And so Italy is definitely worth considering. Sicily is one of the places that stands out on the list. One place that you might not have thought about is the Canary Islands. So kind of west of mainland Europe, they have set up their own tax incentives for people who want to live in Europe, who want to live away from it all, and want to save on taxes. Another place that people have said, hey, this has kind of that Southern California climate. Let's go deeper into the Mediterranean. Now, I happen to spend part of my summers in Montenegro. I wouldn't call this exactly a Southern California climate, but I do think it's worth mentioning. It does get pretty hot in the summer, but it does get cool in the winter, perhaps a bit more rain than you'd want if you're coming from Southern California, but definitely a place that does have some tax friendliness. Also a place that people don't think about as much is Cyprus. And so one city that was suggested was Lemossos in Cyprus. Now, I've spent some time in the winter in Cyprus, and it does have kind of that Southern California feel. I think it can get hot in parts during the summer, but in the winter, again, you've got a little bit of rain, it gets chilly at night, but really nice, pleasant times during the day. You have a decent amount of sun, so Cyprus might be a place to consider. And again, good tax incentives when structured properly. None of these European countries are just going to be moved there and pay nothing. There is some structuring to do. There are some requirements to meet, but it is possible to do, even for Americans. A couple off-the-wall places that got brought up is in Turkey. If you look at the actual climate of Los Angeles and you compare it, there are some cities a little bit inland of the southern coast of Turkey. And so let's just go down to Antalya, for example, and maybe some of the areas inland of that. That could give you a similar climate to Southern California. Perhaps that is a bit more afield than some people coming from California would want. However, we've talked about how Turkey has a citizenship by investment program. And so if you want to buy a lifestyle property on the coast or somewhere near there for that climate, you could do that. Now, I would hope you wouldn't buy from most of the new builds because the commissions are crazy, the markups are crazy. There are really a lot of people taking advantage of foreigners who want that citizenship. But if you buy properly and if you work with someone who has your best interests in mind, then you can get potentially a good deal. I don't think that resale values in that area are going to be as strong because there's a lot of new inventory. But as a lifestyle purchase, invest $250,000 plus, buy a property, get citizenship, and at least now you know you have the ability to be there. And with Turkey being so well connected through Turkish Airlines, you could have worse places to be. One other place that came up is Morocco, and there are numerous cities, again, when you actually compare the climate through climate tools to Southern California, there are some cities that come up along the Moroccan coast, smaller towns. And so I have spoken to a couple people who do have villas or are interested in villas in Morocco. It is a place that if you are looking for a great value, you want to have something on the sea or very near the sea, big, beautiful villa, you can do that for a lot lower price than you would get in a Cyprus or a Montenegro, certainly than you would get in Portugal or Italy to be on the water. That could be a value destination. There are some opportunities in Morocco. So a couple further afield suggestions, but lots of places where you can go. And if you think I'm missing one, leave a comment below to recreate that climate of Southern California. So people ask, Andrew, how do I get the most out of Nomad Capitalist? How do I begin my Nomad Capitalist journey? The first thing people do is they start right where you're at. They watch YouTube, they listen to podcasts, they read articles at nomadcapitalist.com. We've spent years creating thousands of pieces of free content so that you can get the vibe from someone who's actually done this, from someone who's actually been in your shoes. What they'll do next, they'll get a copy of the book. You can find it on Amazon. It costs a few bucks, and while it's not going to give you all the secrets, it's going to, again, give you more of the vibe. You're going to learn a lot of the things that I've learned. You're going to learn some strategies you can employ. and you're going to get a lot further in your journey. From there, if you are the 7 or 8-figure entrepreneur investor, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com. You can click Become a Client. We're pretty busy these days, but we have availability to help a limited number of people who want to create a holistic plan, something that I think is so important. So if you want to do that, go to nomadcapitalist.com, click Become a Client, learn more about how it works and how we can help you.